This is the last portion of the lecture on tool and equipment use, going over maintenance and routine maintenance and different types of maintenance procedures that you're going to run through in industry and in manufacturing. So, tools and equipment, of course, help us to do our job and do it better, but that only generally happens if they are maintained and in good working order. So it is a responsibility for all of us to practice good housekeeping, keeping things clean and orderly, making sure that we store stuff. So I'm sure that we are all aware of how we take time, and I know I am very guilty of this myself. Sometimes you spend a good portion of your time looking for the tool or whatever it is that you need. So good housekeeping and storage can kind of help eliminate that. Generally, too, there are maintenance procedures and lean manufacturing techniques like 5S and some other stuff that also help to maintain organization, storage, and housekeeping that we'll be talking about later in the semester here as well. But it is important to practice good housekeeping. Keep your tools clean, debris free, wipe them down before putting them away, and of course, making sure to repair them if they need repairs or aren't working, and of course, replace them when needed as well. So make sure that you are using all of the tools appropriately and taking appropriate actions when things aren't the way they should be as well. Now, we're going to talk here about some of the different types of maintenance aspects, especially in regard to equipment. Now, probably much more so in equipment than we are really in terms of hand tools and power tools. So, the first method that manufacturers use is what's referred to as preventive maintenance. Now, preventative maintenance, or PMs, you may have already heard about doing PMs, is a planned maintenance of equipment that's designed to kind of help keep the equipment life up and going and as long as it is supposed to be, and also to avoid unplanned interruptions of production. So I'm not sure I'm going to mention the new Tillamook Dairy and the ice cream manufacturing plant here in Decatur. I'm not sure how they do it, if they follow, but I would think that it's probably similar to the way Prairie Farms did their preventative maintenance and their PMs there, especially in terms of production. So Prairie Farms, when they were there, they would run and make the ice cream on first and second shift. The third shift would come in and would do all the preventative maintenance there. So they would clean out all of the piping, they would sanitize, wash, and do everything there on the third shift and make everything ready so it would be good to go for production again, first and second shift of next day. So that is a type of PM, or preventive maintenance, that is in place by a lot of different companies out there. So now that kind of goes beyond just fixing something when it breaks. Obviously, if something breaks, it could break during actual production, and that would cause some issues there too. So actually a PM program does have two component parts to it. So performing the maintenance work regularly, and then of course logging information about any equipment and the work done. So we can do scheduled maintenance. So where we have a set scheduled shutdown of equipment to do that routine maintenance. Maybe we know that bearings are going to only last for so many hours. So we put a PM program in place to replace those bearings as they get close to the hour and the lifetime usage. So maybe the bearing is rated to 20,000 hours of runtime or cycle time. So we put a PM in there of 18,000 hours. We're going to shut down and we're going to replace those bearings as well. So that way it can be done at a planned routine basis there. And of course, we're going to keep the equipment testing in place. We're going to make sure that the bearing's going to last or anything else is going to wear out that will be taken care of. But most of the time, when we do that planned PM, so it does help us to replace parts before we have a catastrophic failure of that part. So, and of course, keeping these logs is very important to make sure that we have those records and we capture those records. So that log should kind of include different types of tests or inspections. Maybe for bearings, maybe we're kind of putting a thermal gun on it to kind of see what the temperature is. Maybe we need to know how many times to pack it for grease if it's type of bearing that needs grease or gears that need grease so often. So we're going to kind of keep those records and a log of that, as well as the log of any schedule of future maintenance as well. Preventative maintenance or predictive maintenance here, PDM, is another type of maintenance program where you keep your equipment monitored at regular intervals to make sure when to perform preventative maintenance. So this predictive maintenance uses instruments that can kind of tell how well a piece of equipment is operating. So, but it also relies on observations from the operators who are using the equipment, from the maintenance people who are coming in and kind of doing things to that as well. So we might put heat sensors or vibration or vibratory analysis type techniques or other types of instrumentations to kind of monitor certain areas of that piece of equipment and indicate any changes that might occur. If we get a temperature spike, if we're using temperature sensors, if you get a temperature spike, then that might kind of signal something going on where we would come back in and take a look at it to do that type of preventative maintenance. So, and those are the types of changes that might, as you're monitoring, that you would detect to go back and report to the maintenance specialist on that machine so that it can be taken care of and addressed. We have a lean manufacturing system put in place for maintenance called TPM, or Total Productive Maintenance. So, total productive maintenance is a way to also prevent and provide warning of equipment problems. So it does involve both the operators and maintenance personnel. They work in a cooperative manner. So to make sure that routine maintenance inspections are performed. The maintenance specialists work with the operators, of course, to understand the function of the equipment while it's in operation. The operators kind of work in tandem with the maintenance personnel to kind of have a better idea of what needs to be done on a daily basis to maintain and keep that machine running at peak efficiency there. So that's a very, very important there. Generally, the companies that have applied TPM, so in their practices, do experience a productivity increase, and they have less breakdowns there, and also typically shortens the time that's required for setup and changeover equipment from one job to another. We, in all these cases, of course, we do have another aspect of the computers here with computer assisted maintenance. Um, so again, that's using that computer to maintain records, signal us when certain things need to occur. Maybe it is even monitoring sensors as well, so that it can turn things off and on as needed. Where again, you're using the technology to kind of help maintain schedule and maintain equipment and repairs there as well. All of these require documents and procedures to be put in place. So we're going to talk here about documents. Of course, anytime we are mentioning documents or procedures, we will also kind of talk about a company's uh, their overall quality manual and quality system that they've got in place, and what we call control of documents. So these documents and procedures need to be protected and safeguarded in most quality management systems. So some of the different types of information that you might need to be aware of is that every piece of equipment is going to have manuals that come with it. So, and those manuals might be operators manuals, they might be maintenance manuals, they might be schematics or drawings, other types of technical documents there that would be part of the machine. So So make sure that those should be stored and placed someplace where they're easily accessible to the people who need them. So oftentimes, while the manufacturers of that machine and equipment is going to make those manuals and operators manuals, the company itself is also going to be responsible for writing specific operating instructions or SOPs or other things to kind of help people. Maybe it's even training manuals on how to do training for that particular operation and how you're using that on the shop where you're working. So those are all going to be documents and procedures that need to be maintained and kept track of. Troubleshooting guides for diagnosing, schematic diagrams, your technical drawings, your blueprints, a list of replacement parts and part numbers, and suppliers of where you're going to go to get those, or even a supplier if something goes wrong and you don't have people in place who can go in and fix that, then you're going to need to contact somebody for outside service and get a service technician in. All of these things are areas that should be kind of kept in some type of a documentation and procedure list that companies have to maintain so that the people who are in the know or who need to be in the know where they need to go to follow up and find all the information that they need to do their job well. So we've already kind of done, and you guys have written and starting to become familiar with standard operating procedures or SOPs. Obviously, all of these, every piece of equipment, every process, um, everything that is being done on the manufacturing floor can be documented with SOPs. It is essential for you to follow those SOPs. They do make your job, if they are written well, so and are understandable, they do make it easier for you to follow along and learn how to do your job and kind of be aware of what you need to do. Now, obviously, with the SOP, when you're first starting, you want to read that through and you want to follow along. As you do these tasks more and more often, more frequently, you will basically find that you will commit everything to memorization and you'll know what that SOP is and how it goes but just by sheer rote memorization of doing these tasks over and over again. But the SOP is a good place to start. Now, um, it is also important to know that, again, all of these procedures and operating standards have to follow along and follow OSHA guidelines and other industry trade organization guidelines in terms of standards that we follow there too. If we talk about equipment training, so you should never go up and start to operate a machine or a tool until you have been provided with some type of training to know how to set up and operate that equipment safely and effectively. So there are three types, what we refer to as three types of training: on the job training, formal training in a course at a plant or an offsite training facility, something along the lines of what you are doing right now here by coming and taking this course at Richland. You are taking a formal training course here in manufacturing processes so that you're knowing and aware of all of these different methods here that our local manufacturers use. You may also, and a lot more of company training is heading towards interactive computer instruction, online learning that may be web based, things like Tooling U or other types of learning management systems are being put in place both at different companies and factories where you might be required to do some of that type of stuff as well. And I will always mention, so while you are doing interactive online stuff, it may not be enough just to go through and kind of click through the 15 or 20 slides. So if you don't remember anything or know anything 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, what good did that do you? So do take some ownership of your own education here when you're doing some of these interactive computer training stuff on at your local employers, and make sure that you are understanding and grasping that material and retaining that for future use. Don't just go through and jump through hoops and bells and whistles. There's a reason for manufacturers to want you to know and understand this